And welcome to this Facebook Live. Hey, my name's Dominic. I'm here from Kitchen Collective Coaching. I'm being joined today, actually, a very special guest, Ryan D'Souza from Brunch Books. Ryan, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Dominic. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So yeah, we're mixing up the content. We're doing a little bit of an interview series now, and this today's topic actually is very much related to what we've been talking about for the last few weeks around financial management. And Ryan actually has a company called Brunch Books, which is a bookkeeping service. So today we're talking about when should you hire a bookkeeper for your venue. So if you are watching on the replay, give us a tag, hit replay, or drop replay in the comments. We'd love to see who's here on the replay. If you're watching live, by all means, send us a message. Let us know where you're from. And if you've got any questions through this, certainly if you're watching live, if you've got any questions, just drop them in the comment section. We'll try and answer them as we go along. Please give this a share as well. If there's anyone that you've got friends or family in the hospitality industry, you think this is going to be useful for them, give it a share, send it out to them. We're obviously trying to spread the word and give as much value to as many people as we possibly can. But yes, Ryan, we're going to jump straight into it, actually. So again, the topic we're talking about today is, should you hire a bookkeeper for your hospitality venue? And this is something we get asked quite a lot, actually, around should I be managing my own books? Not everyone loves numbers. Not everyone likes doing the accounting in Xero or MyOb or whatever system you're using. And Ryan, this is where someone like you can come along and solve the issue for them. But I guess,
Yeah,
Ryan, give us a kind of rundown of you and the service that you provide, particularly to hospitality clients.
yeah. Thanks, Dominic. So I've been doing bookkeeping for the last 5 years. At the start, I was just doing all types of businesses, but in the last 2 years, I've been specializing in hospitality, mostly bars, restaurants, and cafe bookkeeping, because I thought there's a special need in this industry for experts. Because I found that the clients who came to me from hospitality, their books were not managed well. They had books who were not experienced enough in hospitality, so they didn't understand food costs and staff costs, all those sorts of things. Because it's very easy to have a bookkeeper who can do bank recs, accounts payables, accounts receivable. That's very easy. That's not rocket science. But someone who understands the hospitality industry in and out, your food costs, your staff costs, that's an expert. That's an area where bookkeepers don't have enough of expertise. So I thought if I could help my clients by being an expert in this field, they could help from my advice. And so the last 2 years, I've been specializing in hospitality bookkeeping, helping clients like cafes, bars, restaurants, helping them to improve their systems. Because I also find that many businesses are still using old ways of doing things. Because now things have changed so much that you can streamline things, you can improve things in your businesses, the way things are done. And now with things like Xero and staffing and rostering softwares, things are there to make your life easier. In the past, yeah, things were hard, but now there's no excuse to do things the old way.
Yeah. And I think,
Yeah.
I think it's important at this stage to kind of talk about the distinction between what a bookkeeper is delivering versus what an accountant is, right? So, an accountant is someone you generally engage to do your tax and look at, very much around the end of year reporting. Now, some accounting firms, and you're a registered accountant, I believe.
Yep, I'm a CA.
Yeah.
Yep, correct.
There we
Yeah.
go. And so, but bookkeeping is, bookkeeping is obviously slightly different. Bookkeeping is about the day-to-day management of the accounts and the paperwork side of things, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So with bookkeeping, a bookkeeper is someone who does your weekly reports, who does your payroll, who is someone who can lodge your best, your IS every month. An accountant is someone who will do your end of year tax returns. But there are also some accountants who probably do some review work as well, maybe every 3 months, every 6 months, and who will advice on tax planning, how to save tax. So those things that some accountants will help you throughout the year.
Yep. And so I guess, look, what we're, and probably going direct to the question that we're asking today, which is at what point are you generally engaged with a business, so the clients that you deal with in hospitality, at what point does it make sense for somebody to come to someone like you and go, hey, Ryan, I need some help with my books? Like what does that generally look like from a cafe or a restaurant perspective?
Yeah, I find that most of the small businesses, they are pretty much trying to manage their costs. So maybe it's like a husband and wife business where the wife is helping with the books. So they save on the bookkeeping fees. But like the bigger businesses, the work is more complex. There's more staff involved, more payables, receivables, those sort of stuff, where it makes sense to hire someone who's experienced enough in the field. The other thing is that even if you're doing the books yourself, you should know what you're doing, because if you're doing something wrong, and if you find after 12 months that things have been done wrong, it's going to be very expensive to fix things. Because I had a client who came on board some months back. They were doing their own books, but when they met their accountant for end of year, they found so many issues. The staff were not paid the proper rates. There was no proper overtime paid. The GST codes were not right. So if you're doing your books yourself, you have to be 100% sure that you're doing the right thing, because if you're doing it wrong, then it's going to be expensive to fix that. And the client who came to me, their accountant charged them $7,000 to fix the issues that were all that to be fixed.
Wow, that's not a small bill for a restaurant or a cafe.
Yeah.
But I think to that point, right? It's partially about being proactive and making sure that you've got your books in order. And certainly when it comes to things like payroll, there's payroll and tax. There's compliance questions that come into that. Paying someone like yourself to do that ongoing, rather than try and get an accountant at the end of the year to fix that. It's obviously going to be a lot cheaper.
Expensive.
But then, I guess one of the things we're certainly seeing at the moment around, in Australia, around the lots of government support, it requires people's books to be up to date, right? You can't claim government support, or what support is available. That's something that you can help with.
Yeah. And the thing is, now with COVID, you have to make sure that your books are up to date every week, because every week you have to check your spending. You have to check your food costs, your staff costs every week. You can't be checking your costs every 3 months, because in 3 months you would have made a loss, you would be out of business. I had a client who came to me 3 months back. They were with the other bookkeeping firm. They didn't have a single report issued to them in 12 months. So in 12 months, the business owner had no idea where he was with the business. After 12 months, they were told that their wage costs were too high at 60%. So after 12 months, they are being told that their wage costs are so high. So the wage cost is something that they should have been told right at the start, maybe like in week 1 or week 2. Like after 12 months, it makes no sense, that they were running at such high wage costs.
And that's something that we obviously talk a lot about, which is, understanding your numbers. We've done a couple of workshops over the last month or so around that. And I guess, certainly with the businesses that we work with who engage with a bookkeeper, either internally or someone like yourself, it's the bookkeeper who's being proactive in terms of saying, okay, here's the reports. And it's not just the report that comes out of Xero. It's not just the report that comes out of MYB, but then saying, you've got an issue in this particular area. We need to start to focus on your wage cost, or your cost of goods is too high, or it's gone up this percentage this month.
That's right.
And again, I think to your point, being proactive and saying we need to fix this, because if you realize after 12 months there is a wage issue. You've had a wage issue, and you've spent too much money in the last 12 months rather than over the last week or the last month, right?
Yep. So with all our clients, we have to make we make sure that the reports are issued every week, because now with COVID, the the business owners have to be knowing what are their costs, like all the costs, like that includes like other overheads, their bills for electricity, gas, and if they can save on anything now, it's going to be like much beneficial for those owners. Yeah.
Sure. And what are look? I mean, just out of interest, what are some of the reports and some of the numbers that you're specifically focusing on with your clients?
At the moment, I'm specifically focusing on staff costs because there's a big staffing issue in, I guess, all over Australia because how to find staff. Because by the time you train someone, they're gone. And then by the time you train someone new, you have to spend all that money for someone to be trained. And now super is increased as well. So your staff costs are increasing every year. So staffing is an issue that I find very common with my clients. The staff costs are really like high for some of the clients. So we are like on top of the clients to make sure that they keep those costs to as low as they can.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're, I mean, I guess right now it's quite challenging for as you say, for a lot of people to find staff, but also when you've got this fluctuating revenue, right? It's going with
Yeah,
closures and reopening and kind of we missed holidays and it's been winter in the Southern Hemisphere and it's kind of like there's a whole bunch of different things that are throwing the numbers out.
yeah,
It's even more important, right, to
it
be
is.
looking at those on a regular basis.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. So what are some of the, I guess, the typical challenges that you're seeing with somebody who has come to you, hasn't really had a handle on their books before, they might have been doing the information, doing it themselves or relying on an accountant to do it. What, what are some of the typical challenges that someone like that would be seeing in their business?
Typically, at the start, they would find it very hard to reduce the expenses because if they've been running their costs at a high benchmark, so to bring it down, it's going to take them at least a few weeks. I would say at least 12 weeks to bring it down because it's not easy to bring your costs. All of us, I don't, because they are used to doing things in a like the way they've been doing in the past, and now I go and talk to the owner and say your costs are too high. It's going to be hard for those owners to bring their costs down like in a few weeks time. It will take them at least 12 weeks at least to bring those costs down to what they are meant to be.
Yep. Yep. And what are you? I mean, in terms of software and things like that, what platforms are you normally working with? What do you recommend that somebody uses if they're
We use
looking at the moment?
Zero.
Or
Yeah,
yeah,
we use Zero for all our clients, and clients who are using Mayo, we ask them to move to Zero, just because I think Zero works best for hospitality businesses.
okay,
Uh, yeah, because it's very user friendly, and I find that many like people like who are not bookkeepers, like husband wives, they can use Zero as well if they've been trained how to use it properly. It's very easy to use it. Yeah,
yeah. We obviously a lot of our clients. Well, I think all our clients actually are using Xero.
yeah,
And I think it's a great system from the perspective that it also has a lot of integrations, and you can plug in point of sale systems, whether you're using
yes,
Counter or Square, and rostering programs like Deputy or Found You. Pull the information straight in. You've got single touch payroll, obviously connected to the
that's
ATO.
true. Yeah,
There's lots of things, but obviously MYOB's been around for quite a long time, and you've got maybe some people using QuickBooks, certainly in North America. That's
yeah,
pretty
and
popular.
with Zero, the other thing is that you can use it on your phone, on your iPad, and so you may be overseas, or you may be in some other state, but you can still check it on your phone,
Yep.
all your costs, your profit and loss. But with Mayo, it's a bit hard to check all those things on your iPad or on your phone.
Yep. Yep. For sure. Very good. Very good. So look, I guess what services, we talked about it briefly, but what specific services do you provide? What if somebody's looking for a bookkeeper, what should they be, what should they be looking for as well?
Specifically, we offer everything that any bookkeeper would offer. So if they hired someone like a bookkeeper who does accounts, receivables, payables, data entry, reporting, we do all that. But as hospitality bookkeepers, we offer like hospitality specific reports. every week, and we tell the clients how much their food costs should be, how much their staff costs have to be, because we check them with how much they have to be based on the business size. And we also look at all the expenses like their rents, their post fees, their electricity, gas bills, and we try to, because we work with other people as well who can help them to find the best price for those expenses.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
Okay.
yeah, we also work with hospitality people like you and other people like who can help them to work on issues that they need help with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that's certainly from our perspective, that's the benefit of having a bookkeeper or having someone who's taking control. Someone like you who's really taking ownership over the numbers and drilling into that and going, okay, we've got areas of opportunity or areas of issues, depending on how you want to look at it.
yeah,
That need to be, if we do this within the business, if we make these changes, you're going to obviously it's all about higher profits. But it's also about understanding where to look, right? And that's, I guess, the benefit that people like you, like us, and like yourself have, is that we see this stuff every day, and it's about then being able to say, we know that there's opportunity. If we do this here in that specific part of the business, we know that there's
yeah,
opportunities to systemize, increase the profits, reduce costs, that kind of thing.
yeah. And the other thing also is that we help to streamline systems and processes. We find that most of the bigger clients who are with the bigger accounting firms, the bigger bookkeeping firms, they are paying high fees, but they don't receive enough value for the fees that they paid.
Yeah,
For example, I had a client who came on board, I think 12 months back, 6 Subway stores. He was paying $2,500 a month fixed fee. And when I spoke to the owner, I said, we can do some changes in the way things are being done in your systems processes, and we reduced his fee to $1,800 a month. So that's a saving of $700 a month, which is $8,400 for a whole year that he has saved by switching over.
yeah. Yeah, which is good, and that's what it's all about, right? It's all about increasing profitability. If
Yeah,
you are
it is.
just joining, I know we've got a couple of people that's just jumped online. We're just chatting with Ryan D'Souza from Brunch and Books. We're talking about should you get a bookkeeper for your venue. We've got a couple of comments. I'm actually going to give a shout out to my partner in crime, Mandar. He is not joining tonight, but he is in the chat and he is watching. So shout out to you, buddy. And Mandar's asked Ryan, what's your hot tip for focus areas specifically for that the Hotco community can look at right now? And I think we talked about one of them being staffing, but in this kind of environment, what are the sort of the go-to areas for you in terms of helping people get through the current economic challenges?
Yep, I think the go-to tip would be like look at all your expenses, look at your profit and loss report, and check each and every expense on that report, and see what you can save over there. It may be your electricity, your bills, your gas, your FPOS fees. Check everything if you can, and you might be able to save a few $1,000s a month, or even a few $1,000s in a year.
Yeah. Yeah, look, that's a really good tip, and so certainly something that we've been talking a lot about with our clients for the last couple of weeks was, going back, and certainly I think because this, certainly in New South Wales and Victoria, the lockdowns are obviously going on, don't look like they're going to end anytime soon, and we're seeing
Yeah,
some sporadic lockdowns around the country. Is to go back and have a look at your fare, as you say, have a look at the fixed costs. Have a look at, they make sense when you're doing 20 grand a week. They don't make sense when you're doing 10.
correct.
Even things like FPOS. If you don't have, you've got two FPOS terminals, call and cancel one of them, ask for a waiver on one. I know that some of the FPOS companies, I know Counter as a POS company is giving some reductions in fees.
Yeah,
There's a lot of those, but you don't, unfortunately, you don't know until you ask, right? And so I think to your point, it's about going through that entire P&L and saying, I'm spending money on this. Do I really need to? Another one that sounds simple is things like garbage collection, right? It's like, well,
yeah, it is.
when you got a business that's doing, usual volume, 20, 30, 40 grand a week, whatever it happens to be, it makes sense to get your garbage collected every other day. When you're
Correct.
doing half that amount, and certainly a lot of it's now takeaway, maybe it doesn't make sense to you only need garbage collection once a week. You don't need as many garbage bins. Like things like that, they really do add up to being a tangible saving when you look at it. And certainly now that we're looking at, in New South Wales, we've just hit 2.5 months of lockdown, and probably another 3 or 4 to come. And Victoria is not getting much better. It's kind of like you could, if you're saving a few $100s a month, it's potentially going to add up to a couple of $1,000s by the time we finish. We finish
For sure.
this
Yeah.
lockdown,
Yeah.
right? But every dollar counts, right? It's just getting
It
back to
does.
the leanest, most efficient business that you possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think that's a great tip. Certainly something that people don't necessarily do a lot of. As Pierre said, fixed expenses like it's just dropped in the chat. Gas, electricity. We talked about rubbish. Phone and internet is one of those things. I know every time I go and negotiate a phone contract, for some reason, every time I go, the price keeps coming down, but I'm in the wrong contract. But again, you don't know. Often these things as a business owner, you just kind of let them roll over from one thing to the next. You don't look at them over because there's so many other things to look at. And it's kind of like,
Yeah.
well, there might be a $50 saving here. Maybe you don't need it at all. Maybe you can start to cancel some of those things or defer them. We're seeing a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. Is there any other, well, I guess at this stage, is there any other advice that you can give anyone on, how to, if they are talking about looking for a bookkeeper? And I know some people may be thinking, why would I look for a bookkeeper now? I'm not making as much money as I used to. But,
Yeah.
certainly I think what we've been talking about, which is, the bookkeeper can help you, someone like yourself can help make the business more efficient where it maybe wasn't before.
Yeah.
So certainly see that as a benefit rather than a cost to the business. But any other advice around, if somebody wants to talk to a bookkeeper, what should they be looking for?
Yeah, I would like the other thing is that the businesses don't always have to hire a bookkeeper to do everything. They can still be doing some of the things on their own, like doing the data entry stuff, and they can just have the bookkeeper review everything maybe once a month. So you're still doing everything, the payroll, the data entry, the invoicing, everything, but then you're just hiring a bookkeeper just to check that everything is right. So you're not paying the full fees. You're just hiring someone just to make sure everything is right. So if you are struggling with your cash flow, and if you're doing your own books, but if you want to be sure that things are done properly, you can still hire a bookkeeper for a small fee just to make sure everything is right.
Yeah, and I think that's a great suggestion there. Rather than because a lot of what you do is manual labor, right? It's actually going through and reconciling invoice, and we talk about
Yeah.
Xero. We talk about this a lot with our clients. Again, is the reconciliation. As long as you're reconciling, and I love it on the phone. We do our company accounts on the phone. You just sit there and you reconcile against the accounts, and I do that every day. And literally, I'm
Yeah.
balancing my books every single day. I know where the business is at.
Yeah.
At any given time, and there's no reason a cafe or restaurant can't do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then be able to, and then engage with someone like yourself to, as you say, come in and actually take a higher level look at where things are at and look at the numbers and maybe do some interpretation around that as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we're going to throw up, if I can find this here, we're going to throw up just on the screen. There we go. So how people can get in contact with you, and as you say, you're a specialist for restaurants and cafes. You certainly you can log on to Ryan's website there, brunchandbooks.com.au. If you are looking for some advice and have been thinking about getting a bookkeeper for a while, highly recommend that you jump on Ryan's website or send him an email at hello@brunchandbooks.com.au, and there's some of the things that you can help people with there as well in improving systems, cash flow, staff turnover, and you are a registered BAS agent, which is definitely a bonus because some people just don't know how to work that out. I was certainly one of them in the beginning. It's kind of like, BAS, what do I do? Now I understand it. It's literally just pressing one button on the screen, but took a little while to get that set up anyway. But Ryan, thank you very much for that. I think it's been super helpful. Some really practical tips there as well for everyone watching. Again, if you are watching on the replay, if you're just jumping online now, you need to go back and watch the replay because there has been some awesome content from Ryan here tonight. But we've been talking all about how should you hire a bookkeeper for your venue. So there's some really awesome tips there. Again, if you did find this useful, please give it a like and a share. If you're watching this on the replay, drop in some comments. You know, we do watch the comments on replay as well. So if you've got any questions, we'll attempt to answer them, or we'll certainly go away and find the answers for you. I'll give Ryan a call, and Ryan will give me the tips as well, and we'll
Thanks for
shoot
having.
those over to you.
Yeah.
And Steph, yeah, Steph jumped online. Hello, Steph. Thank you very much. He said a thank you to Ryan as well, and a massive thank you from
Thank you.
us as well. So if you have found this free information useful, obviously we'd love to hear your thoughts. If there's anything you specifically want to know as well, any topics you want to cover, I know it's a challenging time for everyone. So if you are looking for some help, what to do with your business, how to get through, don't hesitate to drop us a line, send us a DM. We'd be more than happy to have a chat with you and point you in the right direction. Otherwise, Ryan, again, thank you very much. It's been awesome. Hopefully for everyone sitting at home, if you're at home, well, most of us are stuck at home now, 11 million Australians anyway. If you are at home, I hope you keep safe and well, and very much look forward to either chatting with you in the future or seeing you in our Facebook group, which you can see down the bottom of the screen there, Kitchen Collective Coaching, right there. But until next time, take care, and I'll see you later.
Thank you, Dominic.